Hello, team, and welcome to another short version of the In the Leader's Mind episode. I'm going to talk to you about the observation that we had in the most recent Vistage Executive Summit, and that is that the employment situation is loosening up a little bit. And what does it mean? So it seems that because of the inflation and because of the other things that are happening, as far as the expiration of the support for the unemployed and etc., we're seeing an influx of people who are seeking jobs. It's an interesting thing that we are having basically two stories coming from this side. One is from the employees that are saying that they are trying to find the jobs, and many of them are submitting hundreds of applications without any results. And another story is from the employers saying that they don't get any candidates. So the call to action here is clear, and that is review your systems of receiving candidates' applications, because it seems that some of the systems that we are relying on to filter out or filter in the specific candidates don't seem to be working as well as they should be on the whole. Because we are seeing this higher number of applicants, people who are directly connected to the systems that take applicants' applications seem to be overwhelmed. I was just talking to a client that is using predictive index, and they were reporting that they got 700 applicants for a relatively minor appointment setting position nationally, because they are hiring remote positions. So 700 people applying for the relatively nondescript position is a large number. It's more than expected. And so the challenge that they're having at this point is filtering through all of those resumes and getting the best candidates. So my topic today is how to do this. So full disclosure, I am a certified partner for Predictive Index, and I do know their tools quite well. I don't think it is the only tool system that allows you to do what I'm going to talk about, but it is something that I can speak with some amount of awareness and knowledge. So why do we need the psychometrics tools for hiring? Well, first of all, because we need to find a way to identify and quantify whom we are trying to hire. In other words, before we post a job description out there and seek people to apply, we need to understand what makes a good candidate. And there is a science to that. Keep this in mind. First of all, most of the time JDs are created by one person, and that one person may have some amount of bias in that position. If you are a hiring manager, you may have agenda that you would like to have that person to fill in certain unrelated deficiencies on your team. Maybe you're looking to unload some of the tasks that you have, etc., etc. So the agenda that is built into the single person's mind to define the job description is oftentimes not exactly clear. In other words, it is a little bit opaque to the other people. So think about this: if you have three people on the panel that is going to be hiring a person and they disagree with their agenda. Why? Because one is the hiring manager, the other one is HR person, and the third person may be a peer or a good performer in that position. They may have three different perceptions of how this position needs to be done. Consequently, they are thinking of three different candidates. And what happens out of that confusion is we hire the least offensive candidate, which is kind of mediocrity calling. So what I would suggest is for you to consider what tools do you have to either bring the people that are in the decision-making echelon of deciding whom we're getting on board to agree on what are the characteristics of the person that we are looking, what are the primary ways that we're going to measure their success, what are we going to reward them, because frankly, most of the time we don't go through that exercise and we hire the person that fits this imaginary, opaque expectation that may be different from head to head. So we need a way to present that. So some of these psychometrics tools allow us to take a look at what are the primary functions of the job, and then system would ask us the questions that we would answer, and out we get a description of the person that would do well in the job. That goodness of creating the person that does well in the job also with some of these tools. I know that TTSI offers similar tools. It's not only predictive index, but I believe there is probably a few of them. PI specifically offers tools that allow you to now gear your job description specifically to that person by providing you the language, preferences, the way that you describe things, the way that you keyword things for the candidates of the kind that you want to find themselves in the job description and want to apply. Why is that important? Well, if we're getting 700 applicants for a position, then we want to find the best ones. Let's give them the best chance to understand that we want those people, we want them, because of their personal characteristics that align with the job needs, to apply. So in other words, using certain keywords that appeal to that specific pattern is impossible to be done by one person that understands every single personality profile. Or if so, that would be a unicorn. So in other words, relying on a system that takes a look at what is the personality type that we want to invite, and then telling you which are the words that that personality type responds to, gives you a chance to set your job descriptions apart and make them better and more appealing than the rest of them. So that's kind of the first step. Second step that needs to happen kind of in this time when we're setting the target, we need to take a look at what is the team fit. In other words, we can have a person that simply does not optimally fit in with the team. Simple example is if we have let's say we're hiring for a person that's externally facing, we would like to get an extrovert to fit into a team that is made of all introverts, we're going to create some rubs. So how much extroversion we want versus how much introversion we want, we sometimes need to be smart and downplay certain characteristics of the person in order to make them fit with the team so that we don't create people that are being rejected by the team. So in other words, it's a job fit. Now we're talking about team fit, and in that process, we're also talking about having a manager be prepared to manage the person of the type that we are inviting fully intentionally with the knowledge of what that person needs. So in other words, those are the parts that have to do with the setting the target. The second part is having all of the candidates that we have universally apply against the target. In other words, if you're having hundreds of applicants applying and you would like to consider the best one, let's have everybody that is applying for the job test against that specific function. For that, you kind of need unlimited subscription that is not going to penny pinch you or penny and dime you for every single test that you take. So think about which solutions exist there. Some of them charge you by the assessment. Some of them give you a subscription model. So take a look at which are the ones that are unlimited so that you can have 700 candidates apply, and out of the 700, you consider the top 5%, and therefore you end with a creme de la creme. As this market is freeing up, keep in mind, this is the time to upgrade your people. So you need the specific tools to be able to do that, sometimes even to evaluate the existing people. The next step in this thing is once you have somebody who is, top 3 candidates that are really, really the best match for what you're looking at, your objective is to act quickly. They're not going to be around for a long time. The demand is still very high, and even though we have a softening in the job market, it's still we need to make these decisions quickly. So the goal is that as soon as you have some 100% matches, and you will have in a large number of applicants some 100% matches, you need your recruiter to give them a call. They need to be vetted. They need to be evaluated just for the cultural fit and any obvious discrepancies. Most of these systems that I'm talking about, such as predictive index, allow you to have an interview set of questions that the system will create for you to verify that people are who they are, and also that people can bridge any gaps that they may have relative to what you're expecting. So in other words, you can procedural this and create a higher level of confidence that you're getting the right person. Now is the time to do it. 6 months from now, we will see where we are. But now that we have this softening, the best candidates will go away quickly. So now is the time to think about these solutions. The next step is to rank everybody, call the few. You don't have to have multiple people being validated against each other. In other words, if you have a solution that allows you to see who are the best candidates, you can get pretty much the first candidate that meets your expectation. If they are 10 out of 10, if they're 100 out of 100, in the system's opinion, you're not going to get a much better candidate, except for potentially a cultural fit. And that is something that I would say that the interviewing in person or over the phone or over the Zoom need to be focused on making sure that we agree on the basic fundamental needs that are going beyond the job description. So this is just a call to action. Think about that. Now is the time, at the onset of the softening of the very low unemployment. to start thinking about what are the same systems that we have in our HR, in our hiring committees, to be able to do a better job and to act quickly, so that we don't actually miss out on the best candidates that are returning to the workplace, and we can make the decisions right, educated, and enjoy that for a long period to come. Well, I hope this was useful. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out in the comments, and I look forward to chatting with you. Have a great day.